Hello, everybody. Jim Powers with SBLive.com here in Missouri, and the state football playoffs are in full swing as we hit the quarterfinal round for classes 1 through 5 here in the state of Missouri, and a team in Class 4 or Class 5 now, used to be in Class 4, but team that is no stranger to being in this situation after winning 22 straight district championships and a bunch of state championships. It's the Webb City Cardinals, and their head coach, John Roderique, joins us. And Coach, thanks so much for joining us today. And, what a terrific season for you guys. And the train just keeps rolling, as they say.
Well, it's we're certainly fortunate to be here where we're at now. I mean, when you start the season, everybody has certain goals. Maybe you want to be, your kids, I guess, have certain goals. They want to win a conference or win a district or state playoffs, whatever. And that is certainly one of the big hurdles. We didn't have we were 6-3 in our conference this year. Carthage dominated our league. They were 9-0, followed by Joplin and then Nixa, three teams that we lost to. And then through the course of the year, two of them were one-score games, 1-point game in the first one. And so we had a tough year. First week we played, or the first time we played Carthage, which is week 4. Well, we didn't play very good. We weren't a very good football team that night, and I think it was a 42-14 margin. And of course, when you look down the road, you think, okay, you may have a chance to play those guys again. And we were the 2 seed in our district. Played Republic in the week 11, and then Carthage in week 12. And it was a game where our kids, they were very resilient. We got behind 14-0, 2 turnovers, and then we just kept battling, and kids kept working, and good things happen when you just play hard.
Talk a little bit about this team. And the one thing is, this is a relatively young team for you guys. And the start of the season, like you just mentioned, not the typical start that you guys like, but once again, the schedule you guys play in the beginning part of your season is just unbelievable, especially with the conference and all that stuff. But just talk about how this team has gelled from the beginning of the year to where you're at right now, playing Lebanon this weekend for state quarterfinal.
Yeah, it's always, everybody talks about their process, and for us, we typically don't play as well at the beginning of the season as we do at the end, and some of that has to do with we probably do less than anybody. We don't scrimmage against anybody during the summertime. We do our own camps, a couple of weeks worth in July. Keep the kids, we lift weights and do some 7-on-7 in June. So we always kind of have we always kind of think we're going to start a little bit slower. Not that we want to, it's just part of how it works for us. And then, but with that, we know, at the end of the year, I mean, you got a chance to get things figured out, and part of the process is just actually, personnel. Who needs to be playing more? Our defense looks a lot different personnel wise. From when it did week 1 or week 5, and it's just a matter of trying to get the right guys in the right situations, right positions maybe, and then and then going to work on getting keeping everybody fundamentally sound and working on those aspects of it. But our coaches do an amazing job of recognizing, okay, we need to get better here, we need to get better there, and then just going to work every day towards that goal.
It had to be good to kind of this year getting back to some sense of normalcy just with your summer program, doing some different things that last year, I mean, it was obvious around the state, a lot of teams weren't able to do the things that they normally like to do. But this year it had to be good to be able to get, especially a young group like you guys have, to get back into some normal routines with your summer program and then getting into the season.
Yeah, it's definitely been better. I would imagine, it wasn't as bad for us last year as it was maybe in some of the larger metropolitan areas, but it certainly was different. We kind of sit around and not joke about or laugh about, but we kind of scratch our head. We sit here in school all day here, and we're not wearing masks. We sit in the locker room, we're not wearing masks. Then we get on the bus and we got to put a mask on to go travel to Carthage or travel, anywhere we go, just from the federal mandate. But yeah, it does look a lot more normal this year. And just the little things like being able to take a group of kids into a meeting room and watch film after practice, or just be able to meet in an office, with a group of kids. I mean, those things, we took those for granted for so long, and then, they were kind of taken away last year. But yeah, it does feel, it is good. And I know it's exhausting. I used that term last year many times, how exhausting every day was as a coach, a teacher, our administrators. I mean, all the people involved in education right now. I mean, there's great challenges.
Let's talk about the offense. And the offense doesn't change. It's the program. It's how you guys do things. But you've got a terrific quarterback and a couple fantastic running backs. Talk about those guys.
Yeah, our offense, yeah, well, when you're not very smart, Jim, you can't change too much. But what we do with our split back veer, it's more of a, we adjust, we change schemes. It's funny when people here, and even in Webb City, ask about, man, you guys I saw you ran this play, and the same play you ran 20. It's like, well, it's probably blocked different. We may be able to block something a few different ways, or how we look at things maybe changes. I think if you continue doing the same thing over and over, I mean, guys figure you out. I mean, that's really, honestly, I don't think any of us are, around here, we don't think we're this, we're smart enough to know that, I mean, those guys work too. I mean, they prepare a lot, and their kids work hard at it. And so we've always got to be ready for the next thing. And we have been able to throw the ball a little bit more this year. Cole Vaden, our quarterback, has done a really nice job in the passing game. We've got some weapons out there that we can utilize. And that's the one thing over the years when we get, teams that they have to, put a lot of people in the box to defend our offense, it really leaves a lot of guys out on the edge free. And certainly we want to take advantage of that. But our two backs are two guys, both of them started 6 games last year. And Cade Wilson has had a pretty good year. Cade had a severe injury last year and was able to come back from that. And then Dupree Jackson, 2 senior kids that have gotten most of the carries, and just 2 program guys, man, 2 kids that are just tough, hard-nosed kids, good workers. And that's what I enjoy. That's my position, coaching the running backs on our staff. And so, you get to know those kids. You just, you're with them every day for 4 years, man. And you get towards the end when they're seniors, and you start getting kind of like, man, I'm going to miss this time that we've had to spend with these kids.
Defensively, though, is where you guys have always hung your hat. I mean, the offense, has done terrific things, but really, I'm more impressed with your defensive side of the ball this year, especially your linebackers and your secondary, because, some of the teams that you guys play, you're playing up a class in Class 6, and they like to wing the ball around a little bit more than just running the ball. And I really think your linebackers and secondary have done a terrific job this year.
It's kind of it's been a little bit of a strange year for us. When you look back at the results of our games, and of course we lost the first game 41-40. That's the second year we've given up 40 points against Joplin, and we lost by the same score last year. It was on the last second field goal this year. And we've given up more points probably this year than we've given up in, gosh, maybe my whole career here. And it's maybe we sometimes as a coach, after a game, you're like, man, maybe we try to do too much. Maybe we've got kids thinking too much and not reacting and playing. Sometimes it's, those guys on the other side are better than your guys. And then you got to find a way to give your kids a chance to be successful, which I think is what our coach, the great job that our coaches have done this year is adjusting. We have a young man who's playing defensive end right now that started the season starting at linebacker, but we've kind of moved some guys around. You're always looking to find that way to get better. With Scott Bailey, the old head coach at Lamar for several years. Scott's on our staff now. He's a defensive line coach, and what a wonderful job he does. Of course, Coach Hicks is our D coordinator, has been that for a few years since Coach Smith retired. Coach Smith is back helping on defense. Coach Hicks has been here for probably 23 or 20, like 23 of my 25 years. And so we've got a veteran staff, and our defensive back coach is my son-in-law, Trey Derryberry. And so, we've got some, not just great coaches, but man, it's a great staff, both on the offense and defensive side, really enjoyable.
Yeah, and having Scott with you guys, when I heard that, I'm like, boy, that staff was good already. Now you could throw Coach Bailey into the mix, it just gets better just with, the knowledge he has. And I know there's a lot of mutual respect, between you and Scott, but also the two programs when he was at Lamar and obviously Webb City.
Yeah, Scott. He and I played college football together for 3 years, so we go even way back. I mean, I grew up here; he grew up in Lamar, so there's we just knew of each other in high school. Probably got to know each other in college, and then we've been pretty close, ever since he was at Lamar. And we always kind of joke around about it. We get together in summer and do 7-on-7 with a few local schools, and Lamar's one of them. And then we had one year, I don't remember what year it was. We both were at state championship game. We both won, and neither one of us completed a forward pass. And so we have a lot of like philosophies, and it's really good, just to hear his stories. And here I'll throw this out. He's the junior high boys and girls strength coach. So he works with our junior high boys and girls. And some of you know Scott, you probably chuckle to that because he does a fantastic job. Kids really enjoy working for him.
I remember that year actually, and I can't remember the exact year, but I remember that year because we were actually commenting about that you guys and Lamar won the state championship without a pass, without completing a forward pass. So that kind of tells you a little bit about what you guys are all about. Let's talk about Class 5. Obviously a great matchup. Lebanon this year has just had a terrific year. I think they're a team that you kind of saw slowly starting to build to this point, and the year that they've had this year has just been terrific. Talk a little bit about what it's going to take to get you guys into that state semifinal next week.
Well, Lebanon's a team. Will Christian, there's probably not anybody that I respect more than that guy. He does everything right. He's top notch, high class, and he coaches with a tremendous amount of integrity, and he's just a good man. And when you watch their program over the years, it's just gotten a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better each and every year. We played them early in my career when I was here at Webb, maybe late 90s. I can't remember the year, but I remember playing those guys and thinking, man, they have some big physical guys, lineman type guys. And I don't think that's ever changed. They still have those guys, and I think they've had them forever. But what they do now, they're not, they're really disciplined football team. They're really physical football team. They're all, their offense, they're a patient team that they just want to move the chains and keep the ball. And defensively, they fly around in the second and third levels. Up front, they're very, very physical. And this is a team that, as we say, you have to earn everything you get against them, and you got to earn it. They're not going to give it away to you. And then we played them last year, actually, in the same game, the quarterfinal. And I think they started the game with like an 18 or 19 play drive. We had 12 snaps in the first half offensively. So they can just take the ball and possess it and keep you on the side. You really got to be good offensively. You got to be able to maximize your touches or your series every time you get the ball. And then defensively, you got to find some way to get yourself off the field.
Absolutely. Now, Class 5 in general, and beginning of the year, I think a lot of people said, well, Jackson, they've got a lot of kids back. But you look at the last 8 standing right now in Class 5, and you guys moving up into that classification, Holt moving down out of 6 to 5. I really think it's anybody's ball game and anybody's state championship right now with just the additions and the way everybody's playing at this stage of the year.
Yeah, well, the one we kind of had a something we've always said around here. If you once you get in, you get a chance. You just never know. You never know what can happen. You're not playing for stats. You're playing just to have a chance to go play another game. So, that's kind of our deal. It's something I wrote on the wall on our board here a few weeks ago. It's like, why not us, and not to say we could beat anybody that's left, but, you just never know. Once you get in that position, crazy things happen on Friday nights and Saturday afternoons, and, turnovers are always a big factor. Special teams becomes more of a factor. And then of course, we when you have maybe a unique offense, sometimes that helps, but, yeah, we're very happy to be where we're at right now, obviously, because I think, Carthage was a team that, I think Carthage was as good as anybody. So, you just never know. I mean, that's the one thing, if you're still playing, you just never know. The tough thing is, Jim, and I mention this every time we start, is, there's only going to be one team that ends their season with a win. And, that's tough, but that's just part of it. And you want to try to advance and play as long as you can, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, John, I appreciate the time. It's always great to talk to you. Normally we're talking leading up to the state championship. So it's actually great that we can have a chance to chat before the state championship game and kind of see what's going on down at Webb City. But good luck this weekend against Lebanon. And I hope I do get to see you in a couple weeks out in Columbia.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. We wouldn't have any complaints about that. I appreciate you having me on.
No problem. Head coach from Webb City, John Roderique, joins us. And once again, we're going to be doing coaches previews, coaches interviews, leading all the way up to the Show Me Bowl coming up at Faroe Field here in a couple weeks. I'm Jim Powers for SBA Live Missouri. Thanks so much for tuning in.